Hello, Aquarius. Welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. So, Aquarius, tonight we have, and let me just say, every reading I pull a card before I start setting up or during setup, right? And I always use the Thoth deck. Somebody asked yesterday, what deck are you using? It is the Thoth or Thoth, however you like to say it. Mainly because my husband uses it. I know that's like terrible. I'm not just like stealing his style. But I actually was not super into reading tarot until I met my husband, and he really is all about that Thoth deck life. So that's where I started really kind of learning more about tarot, and that's why I kind of stick to this deck. Now we have the Lust card here. It is also the Strength card in other decks, like the Rider-Waite deck. We see here Babylon, or the Scarlet Woman, riding upon the beast with many heads. And this really is all about that activation of the root chakra. It's sensual, right? But it doesn't have to be just kind of like, acts of amorous or eros, right? Of love and lust, really, as the card says, with other people or in general, however that goes, right? Let me not paint myself in a corner here. But it can be about life, right? Your passions, your goals, your work, your, whatever it is. Whatever that thing or those things are that really speak to you, that get you, your heart pounding and the blood flowing through. Yeah, so it could be applied to really anything. When we see cards like the Lovers and the Lust card and stuff, I know people often think, oh, okay, well, I don't want a love reading, or this must be about my love life. Not necessarily, no. Okay, so let's see. What are these tea leaves going to tell us tonight? And I also want to say thank you for clicking on the reading. It's always such a huge honor for me to be able to bring these messages to you. Okay. So it seems like off the top here, we're in a state of conflict. We have some kind of disagreement happening. We have what almost kind of looks like the beast from the card right here. You can see the body, and the head would be right here, and the person kind of riding on the back, holding, I don't know, what is that? That's kind of, what does she have? Like a staff? Oh, no, it's the reins. These are the reins. So, yeah, kind of, it does look the same, right? Here's her head, her arms up, and holding these reins that go on the rest of the beast there. And then, well, how are we looking at that? Oh, okay, so yes. All right, so then we have the beast is on this side right here. Here's the head of the beast. So I was like, wait a second, this beast got long and it has an eye now? No. Over here, now if we kind of cover this, we have a person. You can see the head, you can see the body, the legs, and in between we have the eye, okay? So I feel like this is a real situation of, if you've never heard this, I'll explain it. Game recognized game. Okay, what does that mean? It means like, if I'm, into something, whatever it is, like, okay, well, if I'm into, reading tea leaves, right? And I happen upon somebody else who also is into divination, and they happen to know some of the, you know, the words and the concepts, and in our conversation that starts to reveal itself to me. Then it's like, okay, well, I have game because I know how to do this, and I recognize in you, and you haven't necessarily told me outright, but I recognize in you that, yeah, you have the same thing going on. We're on the same wave, right? And so I feel like in this situation, it's like somebody who you would maybe consider a peer or maybe a contemporary. Maybe they're in the same industry or field as you. Maybe the same kind of hobby, or, you know, whatever it is. But I feel like it's like you just can't get on the same page with them. And I feel like there's actually kind of almost like they're kind of a hater, right? Like they go out of their way to try to like mess with you, right? And I feel like for you, this is almost kind of humorous, but it also does kind of annoy you, right? It gets under your skin a little bit, but for the most part, I think you're just kind of like, why are you wasting your time, right? I don't know, man. I think about this a lot, like with the internet stuff, like comments and, you know, people like on different social medias just arguing with each other and stuff. I really wonder, how do you have time to like find stuff to be mean about? I don't know how you have time. I don't have time to, I don't even know, do half the things I want to do in the day, right? Like not to say like I'm better because I'm busy, but yeah, it blows my mind that you would spend your time doing that. You know, I don't know. That might just be me. But yeah, I feel like for you, it's almost kind of just like, why are you even focused on me? You know? So kind of not that like a threat necessarily, or even something that super bothers you like on a deep level. But I think really more than anything, it's super annoying. And I just keep hearing it in my head, super like this, super that. Like it just seems like this big emphasis on like, you know, you just, please stop. I'm like over this, okay? So I do see you kind of leaving the situation. So I don't know if that means kind of, you know, avoiding this person. Maybe they are somebody who is like at work or, you know, within your community or subculture or something that you're involved in. I see you like really kind of switching up your routine, or like where, you know, they have access to you, so that you just kind of avoid the situation, right? And I'm the same way. Not that I'm like some punk, right? Like if I have to get into, you know, some kind of confrontation, I'm not going to be afraid to. But do I want to? Do I really want to invest the time and energy in something that is so meaningless? Probably not, right? Because it's just a moment. And it's like, why do we have to like escalate that? There's no reason. Life is hard enough. Why do we have to have these little, squabbles and stuff with people? So I feel like me and you, very similar in this way. And I'm also an Aquarius moon, so I think that's maybe where I come from, where I'm coming from, right? But I see you kind of walking away and just focusing on your own stuff, because this is not worth your time. You know, and I actually feel like you're really saying that. Like, this is not worth my time. I'm not getting involved with this. What are you, crazy? Like, I don't have any energy for you. Now, we have a person standing here. They have a star next to them. You can see the head of the person and the body and the lower body. They have the star, which is like a goal, right? The star archetype is our goals, our hopes, our dreams. and so on. So that is important to this person here. Up here, it looks like we have some kind of strange animal, maybe like a ant eater or something. And over here, we have a cat. You can see the ears, and here's the head. It kind of goes around like this, and here's the ears. And maybe like a little patch of darker fur right here. We have the eyes, and look at the little mustache. It looks like it has a little mustache. Now, we also have the letter Z. Okay, that seems kind of important. And we have repeating threes. There's the 3, there's the 3, and here is the 3. So 3, 3, 3, if that is an important number or angel number for you. So the cat is all about independence, kind of going your own way. And I feel like there is kind of this change for you, where honestly, I feel like there's just, it's like you're kind of just let down by humanity right now. Now, not forever. I don't think you're like a very cynical person. In fact, I think that you're probably pretty sentimental and, kind of like a very like emotional person. You like to be around people that you care about and, love and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like because of the things that have been going on and just probably the state of the world as well, really going into self. And I feel like not only that, there's just a real resolve to kind of stop putting energy into other people, especially if they don't reciprocate. I feel like so often you give so much of like your core vitality to help other people, your time, your attention, your efforts, your resources, and more often than not, it's not returned. Now, of course, we cannot help other people expecting them to do something for us in return. I don't think that that's necessarily the best way to operate unless you're doing business, right? But in this case, I feel like, I just feel like you're burnt. You're just so burnt on people. And so I see you going into this very independent stage of your life, at least like for the next cycle of time, whatever that is, maybe like a year or so. But I feel like you're really focused on whatever that goal is, the thing that that you need to get working on and you've been putting it off. And, maybe it is a lot of other stuff going on in your life, relationships, work, just the, ebb and flow of reality and life in general. But I feel you slowing down, kind of maybe even like turning the dang phone off, not answering calls really, only answering important texts, just kind of off of social media, just in your own world, going a little analog, right? Now we also have the number 38, and that anteater. You know what? Like usually I have some kind of connection to most symbols. This one, the anteater makes me think of Dolly every time, which he was a painter among other things, but he was kind of like the face of surrealism, an art movement that really became quite popular in and I always mix up if it was before the World War I or World War II. It was like in the 30s, I think, 20s, 30s. And he, with the weird mustache, and we all know Dolly, there's the one really famous one with the cube and the melting clock or whatever. So anyways, there's this old picture of Dolly, And he's walking, and this is in real life. I think he's even in New York, because there's like he's coming up, or he's next to a subway the stairs that go down, you know, it's like the little subway entrance. He's next to it, and he has a anteater on a leash. So that's my connect. I think of this, and it's almost kind of, it makes sense to me, because when we were over here, we have the person walking away, which is you, but we also have the moon right above the head. And so that's all about creativity, living in daydream, fantasy, illusion even. And so that, coupled with the anteater, and really I think this indicates kind of a absurdity, surreal life feeling, kind of, you know, like you're in a movie, or just, you know, a little bit different, like everything is just kind of turned a little bit, right? It's just, it feels uncanny. That's what this uncanny feeling. And so I feel like, you know, this is really a good time if you are a creative person, and even if you're not, right? Even if you don't consider yourself creative, you are. We're all creative. But yeah, getting into some kind of sublimation, taking some of the stuff that you are working on within self, right? The things that you're thinking about, the things that you're working through, the things that you're processing, and putting that into some kind of creative endeavor. Okay, so like going and painting, you know, like a picture of, you know, your childhood, or I don't even know, journaling. You know, there's so many things that we can do. Making movies, that's the big thing. I would love to see people making more you know, experimental films and little, you know, kind of video essays about their lives and stuff. You know, it's such a, you don't have to show anybody, but it's such an accessible medium now, because most of us have phones, right? And we have cameras on our phones, and you know, you don't have to be good at editing or anything. There are a lot of free programs as well to do video editing if you do get into that part of it. But, you know, I feel like when we see something that it's like, okay, life is a little strange right now. To me, when I start to feel like I'm living out of time, or like things are just a little bit bizarro, that's when I know I need to be making something. You know, I like to make magical objects and keep altars, and, you know, I make all kinds of talisman and charms and these kinds of things. So that's kind of where my creativity goes. But, you know, there's endless possibilities of things to be building, creating, whatever. So I think using that as a tool to also kind of process through some of the stuff that you're, you know, going through. I think it's so important. And I cannot emphasize enough how healing art can be. Okay, let's see. We have a person over here. It looks like they're praying right here on the edge. Oops, this is out of focus. There we go, right on the edge there. So I also feel like, you know, it should be mentioned that your faith, your spirituality, this is also a place where you derive a lot of power, a lot of motivation, I think. It's the thing that really keeps you anchored to, I don't know, I was going to say to reality, but I don't think it's reality. It's so much as the purpose, your purpose, right? Why you're here, what you're doing. Now, we also have a camel, okay? So I do feel like not only is all this stuff going on and, you know, you have a little bit of conflict, a little bit of agitation, but you're cool and you're deciding, hey, you know what? I'm just kind of over people for a while. I'm going to just stick to myself, you know, doing your thing, doing some creative work, just kind of living in your own reality. But I also feel like there is maybe like an anxiety. I'm sorry I keep coming back to anxiety, but I almost kind of feel like you're anxious about the world. And this is financial. I think this is more of a financial thing. So I also think, you know, coupled with you just being kind of burnt out on people, knowing that you want to be saving more money, you maybe want to be a little more frugal, you just kind of want to, you know, focus on building up things in your life and feeling different within your life and, you know, and just seeing the change that you really have been wanting for a long time. All of that coupled with this kind of, you know, financial worry. And I don't know that it's like necessarily a specific worry so much as the state of the world, right? And I'm not going to get specific. We all know what's going on right now. And so, yeah, I mean, there's so many different reasons because there's so much uncertainty, right? So I feel like, you know, part of this is like, I kind of just want to go into my own space and do my own thing and get myself back into feeling real confident and, you know, everything is kind of level and square and you know, I feel good about what I'm doing and all of that, right? Also want to save some money because if I'm going out and doing stuff with people all the time and involved in a lot of things, it costs a lot of money to be a social person. I mean, it does. So I think this is the other part of it, just wanting to kind of, you know, be a little more prudent and yeah. All right, let's go on to the next thing. We are going to take a look over here. We have, okay, the omega, which is the last letter in the Greek alphabet and is perceived as kind of the end. Like if you see the beginning and the end, often it is alpha, omega. And funny story, well, not really funny, but I got 2 tattoos when I was I turned 18, right when I turned 18. And I have alpha, omega on my hips, which, yes, I was 18 during that era, like in the early zeros where hip tattoos were really popular. So we have the end, an ending, but we also have the butterfly. So this indicates metamorphosis, change. Here, sorry, I always am showing and it's like way down here. Here's the omega, right? And here's the butterfly. So in your endings, there are beginnings, right? And so I see you really in this transitional phase. And I think you've kind of been in it for a while, right? But you're so intentional about it right now. And I think that you're really like at a point where you're willing to adjust any part of your life just to kind of like figure out what is going to be that thing that helps you break through, right? And so right now I think it is. It's kind of just being on your own, doing your own thing, focused on your own stuff. Now, we also have, it looks like an antelope or, you know, some kind of caribou or something like that. Very graceful and strong. So I kind of almost feel like another aspect of this is working on your reactions to things and like what you internalize and like where you put your energy, right? And this loops back around to that first thing, like having some trouble with somebody maybe at work or socially or whatever. I feel like there's so much power in not reacting. Now, you might react privately, right? But not getting into this conflict. Letting things go. I think that's the big thing here, letting things go. But I feel like, you know, there's just this growing assuredness. I don't know which one it is, but feeling very sure about your healing, about your wholeness, the holistic holiness that you are, you know, and I feel you really getting aligned with the universe. And you know, I feel like in this next few weeks, maybe a couple months from now, it's going to be hard to remember how disconnected and annoyed and just over everything that you were feeling. You know, I think it's going to do a big change, big transitions coming soon, right? Okay, let's do 3 lucky numbers. Number 48, number 48, number 10, number 11. Nice. All right. And then we're just going to end with our gratitude affirmation cards. And I'll just flip through and stop where it feels right. Dance of opposites. I am grateful for the cosmic dance of opposites, where hot and cold, earth and sky, and yin and yang create equilibrium. The various contrasts I find in others nurture my growth and understanding. Practice. Do you have someone in your life who is your complete opposite? Appreciate their different views, as it will help you see matters from a fresh perspective. Absolutely. You know, one of the biggest things I cannot handle in this like era that we're in, and it's always been this way, really. Excuse me. I need a drink here. I'm getting all upset. Is this mindset that we have that if somebody does not agree with how we see the world, how we want to live, how, you know, how they want to live or whatever, you know, their beliefs, their understandings of things, their temperaments, whatever, right? And we engage with somebody or we see something, usually it's, you know, passively, right? Out in the wilds of social media. And we reject or we even condemn what this person is about, what they're talking about, what they're sharing, the imagery, whatever. Even if it is super offensive. You know, I'm somebody that's like really into free speech. I don't like what a lot of people have to say. Of course not. I mean, especially if it's something, you know, really disgusting or mean or, you know, whatever. But there needs to be room for everybody, you know. And not only that, like, I don't know. For me, it's like, I rather somebody out themselves about like whatever thing they're, you know, whatever awful thing or weird thing or, you know, dangerous thing. I want you to say it. I want you to be all, you know, out there about it. Make it your whole personality. I don't care. I am not the person to say, let's not let them say that online, or let's not let them do this or that or whatever. No, because we want people to expose themselves, right? Not only that, once we get past all of that, it's just beautiful to see the variety, the different configurations of the world of life. What a boring place it would be if we were all so similar. So, or I don't know. I think, you know, we're in a weird time where we need to embrace more, you know, I don't know, just different things, different kinds of people, different ideas. I mean, it just, this idea that everything has to follow some kind of order, or it all has to look the same, or we all have to be doing similar or the same things and whatever. It's so boring. I'm so bored with it. You know, I don't know. So seeing this card, it is a good reminder, right? Variety is important. And also duality. It is super important for us to know people, to come in contact with people who are very different than we are, and who we even perceive to be our complete opposites. I don't even know what that would look like for, like, I can't even imagine. Maybe that's going to be my contemplation. Actually, you know what? It is. I'm going to use this as my prompt for my next contemplation session. I really am. What is your exact opposite? Maybe you should contemplate that too, because I think that's really hard, honestly. I don't know. I don't know what that would be. So we'll see. I'm going to think about it. All right, Aquarius, I love you. I thank you for being here with me. And I hope you'll come back. Also, if you want to like, subscribe, and leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. Other than that, again, take care of yourself. We'll talk in a few days. Good night.